Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajanna Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajanna Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radhe. Jai Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jagannatha, Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jai Jai Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Gaunitai ki jai, Shri Radha Madan Mohan ji ki jai, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवता सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Commemorating Sri Krishna Janmashtami, so I'm asked to discuss from Krishna book, chapter 59, the deliverance of demon Bhaumasura. Chapter 59 of Krishna book. So I'll read and also discuss some points wherever it is necessary. The deliverance of the demon Bhaumasura. The story of Bhaumasura, how he kidnapped and made captive 16,000 princesses by collecting them from the palaces of various kings, and how he was killed by Krishna, the Supreme Lord of wonderful character, is all described by Sukadeva Goswami to King Parikshit in Srimad Bhagavatam. Generally, the demons are always against the demigods. This demon Bhaumasura, having become very powerful, took by force the umbrella from the throne of the demigod Varuna. He also took the earrings of Aditi, the mother of the demigods. He conquered the portion of heavenly Meru mountain known as Mani Parvata and occupied it. The king of the heavenly planets Indra therefore came to Dwaraka to complain about Bhaumasura before Lord Krishna. Hearing this complaint by Indra, the king of heaven, Lord Krishna, accompanied by his wife Satyabhama, immediately started for the abode of Bhaumasura. The two of them rode on the back of Garuda, who flew them to Prajnodishapura, Bhaumasura's capital city. To enter the city of Prajnositapura was not a very easy task because it was very well fortified. First of all, there were 4 strongholds guarding the 4 directions of the city, which was well protected on all sides by formidable military strength. The next boundary was a water canal all around the city, and in addition, the whole city was surrounded by electric wires. The next fortification was of anila, a gaseous substance. After this, there was a network of barbed wire constructed by a demon of the name Mura. The city appeared well protected even in terms of today's scientific advancement. When Krishna arrived, he broke all the strongholds to pieces by the strokes of his club and scattered the military strength here and there by the constant onslaught of his arrows. With his celebrated Sudarshan Chakra, he counteracted the electrified boundary, annihilated the canals of water and the gaseous boundary, and cut to pieces the electrified network fabricated by the demon Mura. By the vibration of his conch shell, he broke the hearts of the great fighters and also broke the fighting machines that were there. Similarly, he broke the walls around the city with his invincible club. The vibration of Lord Krishna's conch shell sounded like a thunderbolt at the time of the dissolution of the whole cosmic manifestation. The demon Mura heard the vibration of the conch shell, awakened from his sleep, and came out to see what had happened. He had 5 heads and had long been living within the water. The Mura demon was as brilliant as the sun at the time of the dissolution of the cosmos, and his temper was like blazing fire. The effulgence of his body was so dazzling that he was difficult to see with open eyes. When he came out, he first took out his trident and rushed the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The demon Mura, in his onslaught, was like a big snake attacking Garuda. His angry mood was very severe, and he appeared ready to devour the three worlds. First of all, he attacked the carrier of Krishna, Garuda, by whirling and then throwing his trident, and through his five mouths he vibrated sounds like the roaring of a lion. These roaring vibrations spread all over the atmosphere until they extended all over the world and into outer space, up and down and out to the 10 directions, rumbling through the entire universe. Lord Krishna saw that the trident of the Mura demon was rushing towards his carrier, Garuda. Immediately, by trick of his hand, he took two arrows and threw them toward the trident, cutting it to pieces. Simultaneously using many arrows, he pierced the mouths of the demon Mura. When the Mura demon saw himself outmaneuvered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he immediately began to strike the Lord in great anger with his club. But Lord Krishna, with his own club, broke the club of Mura to pieces before it could reach him. The demon, bereft of his weapon, decided to attack Krishna with his strong arms. But Krishna, with the aid of his Sudarshan Chakra, immediately separated the demon's five heads from his body. The demon then fell into the water, just as the peak of a mountain falls into the water after being struck by the thunderbolt of Indra. This demon Mura had 7 sons, named Tamra, Antariksha, Shravana, Vibhavasu, Vasu, Nabhaswan, and Aruna. All of them became puffed up and vengeful because of the death of their father. And to retaliate, they prepared in great anger to fight with Krishna. They equipped themselves with the necessary weapons and situated Pitha, another demon, to act as commander in the battle. By the order of Vamasura, all of them combinedly attacked Krishna. Jai Shri Shri Gaunithai ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ji ki jai, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai. When they came before Lord Krishna, they began to shower him with many kinds of weapons like swords, clubs, lances, arrows and tridents. But they did not know what the strength of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But they did not know the strength of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is unlimited and invincible. Krishna, with his arrows, cut all the weapons of the men of Bhaumasura into pieces. Like Jains, Krishna then threw his weapons, and Bhaumasura's commander-in-chief, Pitha, along with his assistants, fell down, their military dress cut off, and their heads, legs, arms, and thighs severed. All of them were sent to the superintendent of death, Yamras. Bhaumasura was also known as Narakasura, happened to be the son of the earth personified. When he saw that all his soldiers, commanders, and fighters had been killed on the battlefield by the strokes of the weapons of the personality of Godhead, he became exceedingly angry at the Lord. He then came out of the city with a great number of elephants who had all been born and brought up on the seashore. All of them been born and brought up on the seashore. All of them were highly intoxicated. When they came out, they saw that Lord Krishna and his wife were beautifully situated high in outer space, just like a blackish cloud about the sun, glittering with the light of electricity. The demon Bhaumasura immediately released a weapon called Satagni, by which he could kill hundreds of warriors with one stroke, and all his assistants simultaneously threw their respective weapons at the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Krishna counteracted all these weapons by releasing his feathered arrows. The result of this fight was that all the soldiers and commanders of Bhaumasura fell to the ground, their arms, legs, and heads separated from their trunks, and all their horses and elephants also fell with them. In this way, all the weapons released by Bhaumasura were cut to pieces by the Lord's arrows. The Lord was fighting on the back of Garuda, who was helping him by striking the horses and elephants with his wings and scratching their heads with his nails and sharp beak. The elephants, feeling much pain from Garuda's attack on them, all dispersed from the battlefield. Bhaumasura alone remained on the battlefield, and he engaged himself in fighting with Krishna. He saw that Krishna's carrier Garuda had caused great disturbance to his soldiers and elephants, and in great anger he struck Garuda with all his strength, which defied the strength of a thunderbolt. Fortunately, Garuda was not an ordinary bird, and he felt the strokes given by Bhaumasura just as a great elephant feels the impact of a garland of flowers. Bhaumasura thus came to see that none of his tricks would act upon Krishna, and he became aware that all his attempts to kill Krishna would be frustrated. Yet he tried for the last time, taking a trident in his hand and hand to strike him. Krishna was so dexterous that before Bhaumasura could throw his trident, his head was cut off by the sharp Sudarshana chakra. His head, illuminated by earrings and a helmet, fell down on the battlefield. On the occasion of Bhaumasura's being killed by Lord Krishna, all the demons' relatives screamed in disappointment, and the saintly persons glorified the chivalrous activities of the Lord. Taking this opportunity, the denizens of heavenly planets showered flowers on the Lord. At this time, Earth personified appeared before Lord Krishna and greeted him with a Vaijayanti flower garland. She then returned the dazzling earrings of Aditi, bedecked with jewels and gold. She also returned the umbrella of Varuna, along with a valuable jewel, which she presented to Krishna. After this, the earth personified offered her prayers to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and Master, Supreme Personality and Master of the world, who is always worshipped by exalted demigods. She fell down in obeisances and in great devotional ecstasy began to speak. I'll go on reading anyway. Om Jnanati Vrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarobhyasya Kupa Sindubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangam langayate girim yakrupatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. Such a beautiful description of how Lord Krishna killed Mura demon and also Bhaumasura, or also known as Narakasura. Firstly, we can see certain aspects or certain characteristics of a demon. Demons are those who do not care for any authority. That's the first point. They don't accept any authority. Or even if they accept some authority, let us say, only for their advantage they accept. And if they don't find any advantage in accepting any authority, they give up that authority capriciously or whimsically. So this is a general nature of a demon. And the second aspect that we can think of, demon is always in great anxiety. And demons make a lot of protective arrangements for themselves because they don't actually depend on Krishna. So you can see how Bhaumasura, he has such a very difficult to enter into his palace, because the palace was surrounded by different four types of protective systems. First of all, there is a huge fort, and then there is water, and then there is electrified fencing, and then there is barbed wire, and all these things are there. I think even the modern demons cannot have this facility, isn't it? The biggest of the modern, people who have a lot of money, they cannot afford to have this kind of a protective fencing. So he had such protective fencing, and he kept. Uh, this was arranged by a demon called Mura demon. Mura demon has 5 heads, and he's a very powerful demon. He was always in the water. So, how Lord immediately acted on the comfort on the complaint given by Indra. So we see that the demons are always uh, they always want to steal others' property. Here we see that Bhaumasura, he stole the earrings of Mother Aditi, who is the mother of all the devas, and he took away the umbrella of Varuna, and he conquered some space in uh, the Meru mountain, Maniparvata. So all these things we can see the fighting spirit of these demons. I was wondering, when all these tricks were all finished by Krishna in no time, still the demon does not realize that I'm dealing with the great personality, Krishna, the Supreme Personality. So when our attempts to fight against dharma is failing, if we are sensible, then we must understand that it is an indication that I'm going to lose. It is an indication that I'm actually fighting against dharma. It is in my best interest to surrender than go on fighting. So we can see either Mura demon or Bhaumasura, both of them were fighting till their last breath. They were fighting. And modern society will call it a chivalry. But it is not chivalry. If you're fighting against a great personality, very compassionate personality, graceful personality like Lord Krishna, the great chivalrousness is not exhibited by fighting with him, but actual chivalrousness is exhibited by surrendering to him. One attempt if he had made to surrender to Krishna, Krishna would have spared him, but he didn't surrender. So Krishna has to kill him. Now the interesting thing is that this fellow, Bhaumasura, is called Bhaumasura because he is son of Bhumi Devi. She is also called Narakasura. No mother can tolerate her son being killed. But here you see, this mother is actually not ordinary mother, very pious mother. So when Krishna killed Bhaumasura, she was so pleased. She personified mother came in and paid obeisances to Krishna, and Whatever bad deeds were done by this fellow, she gave back all the things that were stolen by Bhaumasara. So, and she was very happy, not that her son was killed, but she was happy that he was killed by Krishna. And all the bad deeds of this fellow came to an end. So now with great ecstasy, Mother Bhumi Devi is offering prayers to Krishna, which are as follows. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who is always present with four symbols, namely his conch shell, disc, lotus, and club, and who is the Lord of all demigods. Please accept my respectful obeisances unto you, my dear Lord. You are the super soul, and in order to satisfy the aspirations of your devotees, you descend to the earth in your various transcendental incarnations, which are just appropriate to the devotees' worshipful desire. Kindly accept my respectful obeisances. Actually, if we observe these prayers, we can learn a lot of things. Firstly, when these great devotees, when they see the Lord, the first thing they do is that they offer obeisances. As Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. This is the first thing. Offering obeisances to the Lord is a very, very, very powerful thing. When you offer obeisances, what happens is that you invoke the good wishes of the person to whom you are offering obeisances. So it's a great culture uh, in the Sanatana Dharma that the children are supposed to offer everyday obeisances to the parents so that they are raised with the good wishes of the parents. It's not that the parents do not wish well for them, but when you offer obeisances to them, they become pleased. Even if there were some misgivings, and all those misgivings are eradicated, and the parents feel very happy. So it's important for children to offer obeisance to the parents. That culture has to be taught. Unfortunately, there is no such culture today. Because the children thinks that the parents are, useless. They are much better than their parents. So obeisances has a great significance in devotion. And now she's saying the glories of Krishna. She's saying that, you are merciful to all living entities and you act as a super soul and you are the Lord of all the demigods. My dear Lord, the lotus flower grows out of your navel and you are always decorated with garland of lotus flowers. Your eyes are always spread like the petals of the lotus flower, and therefore they are all pleasing to the eyes of others. Your soft and delicate lotus feet are always worshipped by your unalloyed devotees, and those lotus feet pacify their lotus like hearts. I therefore repeatedly offer my respectful obeisances unto you. You possess all beauty, strength, fame, property, knowledge, and renunciation. You are the shelter of all six opulences. Although you are all pervading, you have appeared as the son of Vasudeva. Please therefore accept my respectful obeisances. You are the original supreme personality of Godhead and the supreme cause of all causes. Only your lordship is the reservoir of all knowledge. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Personally, you are born, unborn, still you are the father of the whole cosmic manifestation. You are the reservoir and shelter of all kinds of energies. The manifested appearance of this world is caused by you, and you are both the cause and effect of this cosmic manifestation. Please, therefore, accept my respectful obeisances. One, one important thing that we can observe from these prayers is you don't offer prayers or obeisances to someone only because you have received something from them. You offer prayers and obeisances to someone for what they are, for what Lord is. She's offering obeisance. She's describing the various attributes and qualities and characteristics of the Lord, and she's offering obeisances. So don't always uh, praise someone because they have given you something. Not necessarily. Even if they have not given you directly something, but if they are person of great quality, just appreciate them and praise them, glorify them. So that is what we see. In fact, she is saying all of this in spite of her son being killed. My dear Lord, as for the three gods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, they are not independent of you. When there is a necessity of creating this cosmic manifestation, you create your passionate appearance of Brahma, and when you want to maintain the cosmic manifestation, you expand yourself as Lord Vishnu, the reservoir of all goodness. Similarly, you appear as Lord Shiva, master of the mode of ignorance, and thus dissolve the whole creation. So you always maintain your transcendental position in spite of creating these three modes of material nature. You are never entangled in these modes of nature as the ordinary living entities are. It's important to offer prayers in knowledge, not that whatever comes to you, not like that. You know, I'm just remembering a story of a woman who is blessing the judge because she won the case. The judge gave a judgment in favor of her. So she blessed the judge. I bless you to be a constable. You remember that? Prabhupada tells this story. Because the constable is the one who helped her to put up a case, and then the judge gave a favorable judgment. She doesn't know the position of the judge and the constable, so she blessed the judge that may you become a constable. So similarly, when we offer prayers, we should know the respective greatness of different personalities. She did not get confused or anything like that. Or she knew how Lord Krishna is above these gunavataras, above the demigods, above the three modes of material nature. So she is in full knowledge of what she is speaking. Sometimes when you are overtaken by emotion, you don't know what you are speaking. You're just blabbering something. But these great personalities, like Bhumi Devi, they are never confused about the position of the Lord and the respective positions of all the uh, other great personalities in creation, like Lord Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Actually, my Lord, you are the material nature, you are the Father of the universe, and you are eternal time, which has caused the combination of the elements of nature and the manifestation of the material creation. Still, you are always transcendental to all these material activities. My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know that earth, water, fire, air, sky, the five sense objects, mind, the senses, and their desire, deities, egoism, and the total material energy, all things animate and inanimate in this phenomenal world rests upon you. Since everything is produced of you, nothing can be separate from you. Yet, since you're transcendently situated, nothing material can be identified with your personality. Everything is therefore simultaneously one with you and different from you. And the philosophers who try to separate everything from you are certainly mistaken in their viewpoint. This is a perfect philosophy of Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, which is propounded by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is, nothing can be separate from Krishna and nothing can be equal to Krishna. So she's saying that how this whole material universe is made up of these 24 elements, and above these 24 elements, Lord is there. So this is a perfect description of Lord's relationship with everything. Nothing can be independent of the Lord, nothing is equal to the Lord. Like we say every day, the second offense, to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of Lord. So similarly, nothing in this material world is equal to Him or independent of Him. My dear Lord, may I inform you that this boy, whose name is Bhagadatta, is the son of my son, Bhaumasura. He has been very much affected by the ghastly situation created by the death of his father and has become very much confused and afraid. I have therefore brought him to surrender unto your lotus feet. I request your lordship to give shelter to this boy and bless him with your lotus feet. I bring him to you so that he may be relieved of the reactions of all the sinful activities of his father. Now she is introducing another boy called Bhagadatta, who is the son of Bhaumasura. She is asking Lord Krishna to give shelter to this Bhagadatta, who is affected by the sinful reactions of his father. So if we are son of a sinful person, we also get those sinful reactions. You can't say that is committed by my father, I have nothing to do with it. By virtue of being his descendant, you also get the karmic reactions. It's a vice versa. If the son commits a mistake, the father gets the punishment. If the father commits a mistake, the son gets the punishment. That is how these material relationships are. When Lord Krishna heard the prayers of Mother Earth, he immediately assured her of immunity from all fearful situations. He said to Bhagadatta, "Don't be afraid." Then he entered the palace of Bhaumasura, which was equipped with all kinds of opulences. In the palace of Bhaumasura, Lord Krishna saw 16,100 young princesses who had been kidnapped and held captive there. When the princesses saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna enter the palace, they immediately became captivated by the beauty of the Lord and prayed for his costless mercy. Within their minds, they decided to accept Lord Krishna as their husband without hesitation. Each one of them prayed to Providence that Krishna might become her husband. Sincerely and seriously, they offered their hearts to the Lord's lotus feet, to the lotus feet of Krishna, with an unalloyed devotional attitude. As the super soul in everyone's heart, Krishna could understand their uncontaminated desire and he agreed to accept them as his wives. Thus he arranged for suitable garments and ornaments for them, and each of them, seated on a palanquin, was dispatched to Dwaraka city. Krishna also collected unlimited wealth from the palace, a treasure of chariots, horses, jewels, and so on. He took from the palace 50 white elephants, each of them 4 tusks, each with 4 tusks, and all of them were dispatched to Dwaraka. After this incident, Lord Krishna and Satyabhama entered Amaravati, the capital city of the heavenly planets, and they immediately entered the palace of King Indra and his wife Sachidevi, who welcomed them. Krishna then presented Indra with the earrings of Aditi. So there is this famous misconception that people have about Lord. Why is he marrying so many people? Why such a misconception? Because you have difficulty to marry even one person. That is a problem. Who will give daughter to you? You're such a crazy, ill-fated, evil-minded, professional fault finder. Who will give their daughter to you? So that is why you have envy towards Krishna. Oh, he is very lusty. He married 16,108 princes. Actually, the fact of the matter is that these princes were not ordinary persons. These princes were great rishis in Ramayana. They wanted to actually have a conjugal relationship with Krishna. So they prayed to Krishna when they prayed to Lord Ramachandra when he was uh, in what is that place? Dandakaranya. In Dandakaranya, when he was there, so all the great rishis came and prayed to Lord Ramachandra that we want to have this relationship. Then Lord Rama, it is said very clearly, Lord Rama did not object to that. He didn't say yes because he is Ekapatni Vrata. So that is why he didn't say yes, but he did not say no. So as per scriptures, Maunam is called Ardhangikaram. Ardha means, he actually consented by saying no. So in the next incarnation, these great rishis, they became these princes and who happened to be captivated, who happened to be, kept captive by Bhaumasura. And in those Vedic times, it is very clear in the society, the rule is that once you are under the shelter of a man, no other man will accept you. So that was the custom. So even if they were released from the jails of Bhaumasura, nobody would marry them. So that is why, because it is a concise presentation of the Krishna book, concise presentation of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, those details are not there. Prabhupada has only kept all the details which are necessary for us for a quick reading. But otherwise in Bhagavatam you will find all these details. They pray to Krishna, my dear Lord Krishna, nobody will accept us, so kindly accept us. So Krishna's greatness is that he has accepted them as his wives. When you accept someone in a helpless situation as your wife, there is a tendency to look down upon them because you have not chosen them on your own. They have chosen you or they have requested you to be their husband. But Krishna, even though they requested Krishna to be their husband, he gave them the status, the same status as that of these principal queens, the 8 principal queens, Rukmini, Satyabhama, and all the other Nagnajati, all Nagnajati and all these great queens. So he gave them that equal status. So that is the greatness of a very, very graceful person. That you are in an underprivileged situation and you approach them, but he gives them the same status as that of his original wives. So that is why he sent all of them to Dwaraka. He gave them so many gifts and he created a palace for each one of them. He gave them a palace. So this is the glory of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then they entered into this Amravati city, which is the capital city of the heavenly King Indra, and presented with the earrings. When Krishna and Satyabhama were returning from the capital city of Indra, Satyabhama, remembering Krishna's promise to give her a Parijata tree, taking the opportunity of having come to heavenly kingdom, she uprooted a Parijata tree and placed it on the back of Garuda. Once Narada had taken a Parijata flower and presented to Krishna's senior wife, Sri Rukmini Devi. On account of this, Satyabhama had developed an inferiority complex. She also wanted such a flower from Krishna. Krishna could understand the competitive womanly nature of his co-wives, and he had smiled. He had immediately asked Satyabhama, "Why are you asking for only one flower? I would like to give you a whole tree of Parijata flowers." So where do you think the competitive nature between amongst ladies has come from? It's all came from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The original competitiveness was there with Krishna's wives. And that gives a certain rasa to Krishna. In the material world, it doesn't give rasa, it gives bhasa. But in the spiritual world, it gives a certain rasa. When the wives are competing with each other to become more dear to their husband or to serve the husband in a more expert manner, the husband becomes very happy. So the competitive spirit of Satyabhama or Rukmini or whoever it is, all of them are actually to give pleasure to Krishna. It has nothing to do with material competitiveness, which is actually destructive. So we should not misunderstand the inferiority complex, the word used by Prabhupada, as the so-called inferiority complex of this world. In this world, if you have inferiority complex, what you try to do to cover that inferiority complex, you try to present yourself as great. So you try to show your pride. But that's not actually a good. So actually Krishna had purposely taken his wife Satyabhama with him so that she could collect the Parijata with her own hand. But the denizens of the heavenly planets, including Indra, were very irritated. Without their permission, Satyabhama had uprooted a Parijata tree, which is not to be found on the earth planet. Indra, along with other demigods, offered opposition to Krishna and Satyabhama for taking away the tree. But in order to please his favorite wife Satyabhama, Krishna became determined and adamant. So there was a fight between the demigods and Krishna. Wow. This is a classic example of being ungrateful. What is their purpose to come? To hand over the earrings of their mother. That is the purpose. And Indra could not fight with Bhaumasura. So he surrendered to Krishna and complained to Krishna. And Krishna has tackled the situation very peacefully. And he had come with his wife to deliver the earrings. And here is Indra who is objecting just because one tree is uprooted. What is this consciousness? This consciousness is called bite the hand that feeds you. Whoever has done favor to you, you become envious of that person because of too much attachment to material possessions. So the demigods are too attached to this so-called facilities in the heavenly planets. They forgot that actually all of these facilities are given by Krishna only. So when Krishna came and when Satyabhama took the Parijata flower, they became upset that they were ready to fight with Krishna. Same thing happens to us. We sometimes fight with our superiors who give us Krishna consciousness, who raised us in Krishna consciousness. We fight with sometimes also spiritual master. We fight with Krishna without understanding that I am sustaining by their mercy. Without their mercy, where will I be? I'll be in gutter. And by their mercy, I am here. So, we should never envy na avamanyeta karhichit. This said, one should never envy one's spiritual master and superior Vaishnavas. So, this is the lesson that we can take from this incident. As usual, Krishna came out victorious and he triumphantly brought the Parijata tree chosen by his wife to this earth planet, to Dwaraka. After this, the tree was installed in the palace garden of Satyabhama. On account of the extraordinary tree, the garden house of Satyabhama became extraordinarily beautiful. As the Parijata tree came down to the earthly planet, the fragrance of its flowers also came down, and the celestial drones migrated to this earth in search of their fragrance and honey. King Indra's behavior toward Krishna was not very much appreciated by great sages like Sukadeva Goswami. Out of his causeless mercy, Krishna had gone to the heavenly kingdom, Amaravati, to present King Indra with his mother's earrings, which had been lost to Baumasura, and Indra had been very glad to receive them. But when a Parijata tree from heavenly kingdom was taken by Krishna, Indra had fought with him. This was self-interest on the part of Indra. He had offered his prayer, tipping down his head to the lotus feet of Krishna, but as soon as his purpose had been served, he became a different creature. That is the way of the dealings of materialistic men. Materialistic men are always interested in their own profit. For this purpose, they can offer any kinds of respect to anyone. But when their personal interest is over, they are no longer friends. This selfish nature is found not only among the richer class of men on this planet, but even in personalities like Indra and other demigods. Too much wealth makes a man selfish. A selfish man is not prepared to take to Krishna consciousness and is condemned by great devotees like Sukadeva Goswami. In other words, possession of too many worldly riches is a disqualification for advancement in Krishna consciousness. There is no need of a comment for this, because it is so beautifully described by Srila Prabhupada. It is self-explanatory. After defeating Indra, Krishna arranged to marry the 16,000 girls, 1,000 girls, brought from the custody of Baumasura by expanding himself into 16,100 forms. He simultaneously married them all in different palaces at the same auspicious moment. He thus established the truth that Krishna and no one else is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is nothing impossible for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is all-powerful, omnipresent, and imperishable. And so, there is nothing wonderful in this pastime. All the palaces of the more than 16,000 queens of Krishna were filled with suitable gardens, furniture, and other paraphernalia, to which there is no parallel in this world. There is no exaggeration in this story from Srimad Bhagavatam. The queens of Krishna were all expansions of the goddess of fortune, Lakshmiji. Krishna lived with them in different palaces, and he treated them exactly the same way an ordinary man treats his wife. We should always remember that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was playing exactly like a human being, although he showed his extraordinary opulence by simultaneously marrying more than 16,000 wives in more than 16,000 palaces. He behaved with them just like an ordinary man, and he strictly followed the relationship between husband and wife required in ordinary homes. Therefore, it is very difficult to understand the characteristic of the Supreme Brahman, the personality of Godhead. Even demigods like Brahma are unable to probe into the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. The wives of Krishna were so fortunate that they got the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their husband, although their husband's personality was unknown even to Brahma and the other demigods. In their dealings as husband and wife, Krishna and his queens would smile, talk, joke, embrace, and so on. And their conjugal relationship ever increasingly developed. In this way, Krishna and the queens enjoyed transcendental happiness in their household life. Although each and every queen had thousands of maidservants, engaged for her service. The queens were all personally attentive to serving Krishna. Each one of them used to receive Krishna personally when he entered the palace. They engaged in seating him on a nice couch, worshipping him with all kinds of paraphernalia, washing his lotus feet with Ganges water, offering him betel nuts, and massaging his legs. In this way, they gave him relief from the fatigue he felt after being away from them. They fanned him nicely, offered him fragrant essential floral oil, decorated him with flower garlands, dressed his hair, asked him to lie down to take rest, bathed him personally, and fed him palatable dishes. Each queen did all these things herself and did not wait for their maidservants. In other words, Krishna and his different queens displayed on this earth an ideal household life. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 59th chapter of Krishna, the deliverance of the king Bhaumasura. So we'll stop here. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.